Dear students, today I'll discuss with you the India's foreign policy, one of the very important topic in the international relations. The foreign policy of any country is shaped, powered, and constrained by the five major factors. These factors are history, geography, capability, leadership, and identity. Apart from it, there are four tracks in the foreign policy: track 1, track 2, track 3, track 4. Track 1, when there is a dialogue between the government to government, our head of the country, whether prime minister or our president, had a dialogue with the president of America or the president of Russia. That's a track 1. Then track 2 is ministerial level or secretary level talks. Like recently, just a couple of months back, we had a 2+2 dialogue. And in that 2+2 dialogue, the Foreign Affairs Minister of India, S. Jaishankar, Defense Minister of India, Mr. Rajnath Singh, and the Defense Secretary and the Secretary of State of America had a lot many rounds of talks. That is called 2+2. That's in the track 2. Then track 3 is when the veterans who are not in the limelight nowadays, like Lal Krishna Advani, or can be politician, can be bureaucrat like General V.P. Malik. They are sent to the other countries as a representative of India, and the representative of that country who are also not in the limelight nowadays. They had a dialogue that is called track 3. And track 4 is people to people. We conduct some melas, some fairs, festivals in Pakistan, and the Pakistani people had these fairs, melas in our country. Like we have a lot of trains and buses, Jota Express, Bhamna Express, Sachkhand Express, Amritsar to Nankana Sahib bus services. So that is a people to people contact. And in this foreign policy, the most successful is the track 4 policy. Then the first is identity. Indian democracy may be in work in progress, yet it is deeply embodied in its identity. India is a democratic country. It's identity of the country. Since 1950 till today, there is no dictatorship, no coup. Whereas our neighbor, for more than 3 decades, that is Pakistan, for more than 3 decades, remained under the dictatorship, under the army rule. But India is having an identity of the foreign policy, that is democracy. Then second comes history. In history, India is having a long history of the 3 millenniums, right from Stone Age till today. In that period, we had Mauryas, the big empire, then Guptas, Mughals, and finally the British Raj. And these 4 dynasties and empires, they influenced the India's foreign policy. The next one is geography. In geography comes the neighbors. One is a neighbor, immediate neighbor, and second is an extended neighbor. Now, in the immediate neighbor, we had in the Himalayas, Nepal, Bhutan, Afghanistan. Then on the eastern side, we have Bangladesh, Myanmar, and in the south, we have Sri Lanka and Maldives. Bhutan and Mauritius are the good neighbors, you can call it, of India. Then extended neighbors. The extended neighbors includes Iran, Persian Gulf, Malaysia, Singapore in the Southeast Asia, Saudi Arabia and the Gulf. Then in the Look East policy, Japan, South Korea, Australia, and lastly the Central Asia. And next is capability. A country's capability depends on number of factors, but none is more important than the health and its economy. India grows in a large number after independence in 1947. Since 1947, in the beginning, we used to import the food from the USA. But with the Green Revolution in 60s and 70s, we became self-dependent, rather exporting too much of foodstuffs to the other neighboring countries. And then in 1991, there is a drastic change in the foreign policy of India, that is LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization. In between, we fought 3 wars, 1962, 65, 71. As far as the poverty is concerned, the Indian government have started a lot of programs for the poor, for example, Manrega. In the 1990s, India's private sector came into its own, and it led to the rise of Tatas, Mittals, and Ambanis. Youth and education, right from primary to university, it's boon or bomb, and underemployment is there. Rural area education, the most important part of India's foreign policy. The next comes leadership. Right from the beginning, from independence till today, we had excellent leaders like Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru shaped the India's foreign policy. He adopted the Panchsheel, NAM, non-line movement. Then he was succeeded by Lal Bahadur Shastri. During his time, the 1965 war took place with Pakistan. After Lal Bahadur Shastri, Indira Gandhi came in power, and she was an excellent prime minister. Various scholars, even leaders, contemporary leaders, have given different views about her. She came out from the policy of NAM, and she signed one treaty of friendship and cooperation with USSR, present-day Russia. During her time, the 1971 Indo-Pak War took place, in which a new country was born, that is Bangladesh, which was earlier known as East Pakistan. After her, there is another prime minister, Mr. Morarji Desai. Morarji Desai tried to develop good relations, revive the good relations with China. And again, she came in 1980, Ms. Indira Gandhi. After her, there is Rajiv Gandhi, her son. During his time, very important event took place, that is IPKF, Indian Peacekeeping Forces. There were 2 more prime ministers. They were for just a couple of years only, couldn't do, a couple of months rather, I will say. One was VP Singh, another was Chandrasekhar. Then it was Narasimha Rao, PV Narasimha Rao. Early 90s, he opened the economy, gave a new shape, new era to the foreign policy of India. And Narasimha Rao's policy of globalization, liberalization brought a lot of changes in the country, modernized the country, brought closer to the world. Then there was, for some time, it was one Prime Minister, I.K. Gujral. I.K. Gujral, in real sense, give the actual shape to the India's foreign policy. He remained a foreign minister. Then he brought the Gujarat Doctrine. After Mr. Gujral comes the Atal Bihari Vajpayee. During his time, the two major events took place. One is Kargil, another, India tested a nuclear bomb. After Atal Bihari Vajpayee, for 2 terms, that is for a decade, Dr. Manmohan Singh became the Prime Minister. Very important deal was signed during his tenure, that is the civil nuclear deal. Mumbai terrorist attacks were there. India, one of the founders of the G20, India joined BRICS, Shanghai Cooperation, and India became the hot candidate for the permanent seat in the Security Council, UN Security Council. And nowadays, the presently is Mr. Narendra Modi, who radiated intent to see India prosper, not least due to greater international investment and trade, bringing India very closer to the lot many countries. And we are moving towards the new era, and India is shining like anything. Thank you very much.